When a university financial aid office tells you a $30,000 student loan is affordable, they're lying to your face. They show you the principle. They don't show you the math. You aren't signing up for an education if you aren't careful. You're signing up for a 20-year financial chokehold. In regards to the being, be an aggressive consumer of education. Don't just be a passive borrower. The financial aid office is a sales department. Treat them like a dealership, not like a charity. So for the squad, and in regards to budgeting or resource security, why is it fatal to sign a financial contract when you only understand the entry price and not the long-term cost of maintenance?
Go ahead, Doctor.
All right. So again, in tactical budgeting or resource security, why is it fatal to sign a financial contract? We only understand the entry price and not the long-term cost of maintenance. And right here, this is very important when students are accepting school loans. They need to know the difference between subsidized loans and unsubsidized loans. So if they do accept a subsidized loan, what is not being taught to students, and what you're basically referencing when you talk about the principal, they're not being taught about the interest, right? So if they accept a subsidized loan, the interest isn't going to start until they finish their academic journey 6 months after. But for a unsubsidized loan, that interest is going to accrue from day one. So that means if you go to school for 4 years or 4+ years, 2 years, however long you're in school, from day one, that interest is now accruing. So if you did borrow X amount of dollars from day one, that interest is automatically accruing. So it's real important to read the fine print on those loans and knowing the difference between a subsidized loan and a unsubsidized loan. Again, a subsidized loan is where their interest does not start until you graduate or you stop going to school 6 months after. A unsubsidized loan, their interest starts to accrue from day one. Festus, take it away.
Yeah, I would jump in on that too, is understanding the loan amounts, the interest amounts, but also understanding what you're buying. So a lot of people don't realize that you might be thinking you're buying future income when in reality, what you're buying can be purchased for something cheaper or a reduced amount at a different institution. So a degree doesn't necessarily automatically mean a higher income. It could be a certification that school offers versus the degree. So it might be, hey, do 1 year of school, of college, and get some certifications. And that could be a massive difference in terms of getting $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 of student loan debt.
Huge, man. Thank y'all for those. All right, so let's jump into the no. Let's talk about, and this may seem a little tough, but if it's a little tough, I'll be honest with you, maybe you should be rethinking this, because these are just facts. You got to understand the compound reality of amortized debt, right? There's something called an amortization schedule. Whenever you have paying for a car, you're paying for a home, you're paying for a loan, you're paying for school using a loan. So a $30,000 loan with 6.8 interest, at the end of the day, it's going to cost you $53,000. That's a bunch of extra money that's getting eaten out of your budget every month. So for the squad, when students sign these financial aid packets, do they actually understand the structural math, or are they just reacting to the bill date?
No, I don't think they understand the actual math, because some of them would not accept the loan for the full loan amount offer. I believe that once they actually understand the math and the calculations, they might start saying, okay, although I qualify for X amount of dollars in loan, I might not need all of that. I just need enough just to cover my tuition and give back the rest of that money, because that's something that's happening. Students are accepting the full amount when that's not needed to cover their tuition. So I don't think they understand the math.
I think they understand the math, but the thing is, they don't understand the economics behind the math. They see that and they think, oh, I could pay my rent, I could get this, I could get pizza. And that's where I think the economics is off, especially because a lot of these young people have not worked yet. So they don't know about taxes. They don't know about inflation. They don't know about all those things. So because they don't know about those things, they're just like, oh, you're just giving me money. And they think that's how it works. And so to me, there's this hidden math that they don't get.
They hidden math will get you. When you talked about, the thing that got me was, I thought about the workflow. We're asking to students, understand this math. And my initial thought was, why is it the student? Our parents should still be involved to a certain extent. And even if not, there should be someone that you can trust to be able to have these conversations. All of these things just go to show how much is truly needed if you're trying to go to college. This is not small beans we're talking about. This is we're talking about your future here. It's a very sensitive thing. And I think it gets wrapped up in this, just sign here, just do this, just do that, and you'll be good. And we're thinking about the present, the here and right now, instead of thinking about how will this affect me in the future, right? So that's why we're here. That's why we're having these conversations. So in regards to do a debt to income audit before you accept that package. Go to the FAFSA calculator, plug in your projected monthly loan payment against the realistic entry level post-tax salary of your major. If that monthly loan payment exceeds 10% of your projected monthly take-home pay, you need to decline that loan and find a cheaper institution or a specialized technical alternative. All right. So for the squad, I got two questions. First one is, what is the single fastest way a student can close their tuition gap without relying on federal loans? Okay. And two, do you agree with that debt to income audit, that thing that I kind of laid out there? So one, what is the fastest way for a student to close that tuition gap? And two, do you agree with that debt to income audit? And I'll put it in there for y'all so y'all can see it.
100%. I think understanding how much this career is worth is key. As a matter of fact, I forgot what magazine came out with this article. I have to look it up. They said that the students were graduating and they were projecting what their income should be. And they were just saying 150,000, 250,000, 350,000 for jobs that are currently paying 40, 50, and 60,000. And so the thing about it is, our reality in terms of what income should be is not matching. And what is worse is the current administration's failure on managing inflation. It just is. The first year and a half, 2 years, okay, cool. But then after that, it's like, what are you doing? And that gap there is what's really hurting people, because people don't understand the secret tax that's called inflation. When prices go up, you got grocery store prices. I hate it. You go in there and you're like, oh, things I used to get. I'll go personal here. You know what I'm saying? I used to go to the store when I was in my early 20s, and I could get a week's worth of groceries for $20, $25. I'd be straight, fruit, vegetables, week's worth of groceries. But now you can't do that. Let me say, it'd be very difficult to do that if you're trying to eat healthy live food. So anyway, that's my rant. But yeah.
Man, this question here, this is a really good question to close that tuition gap without relying on federal loans. I'm going to say this is where it comes to, first off, I do agree with that audit that you shared, Ole. But I think also, in addition to that, is having these financial conversations with the students while they are going through college, if they have any guidance available to them, and making these smart financial decisions that might look like, hey, I got to be more wise how I'm getting around, traveling, and cut out the unnecessary cost of daily living, so that when we do graduate and we try to close those gaps, ooh, ay. This is a really hard one, because as Festus was addressing, he's talking about my mind just went blank. Inflation. I'm tripping. Inflation. Yeah, so when he's talking about it, inflation, it's hard to calculate that because I do see for the advice is to project your monthly take home pay. And I think that's a hard thing to estimate in the future with that because of certain challenges that may come on. But I would say at that time, let's try to minimize as much spending as possible so that when we do get into those situations in the future, when we have to pay off these loans, we can just take care of that. That means rooming with somebody, rooming boarding with somebody, getting to work, cutting down its cost so we can just pay that debt down. And also look into the service programs that are available for potential careers before you accept these loans as well. Don't accept excess loans, and also look at in the current system when you are enrolling into your courses, what programs the student aid gov have available for your particular careers, because they have stuff it's like public service forgiveness loans and so on and so forth. But yeah, LYS are the experts on that, which is why y'all should hit them up for that expertise.
I want to thank you so much for that, Dr. J, in regards to the PSLF. I think that is powerful what you just said. I think this is why you have to be strategic as you're planning your college and your post-college life and career. If you get into a particular field that pays well, it's in the middle of salary, but if you work for the government, or if you work for state, local agencies for a certain amount of years, they will forgive those loans. That's a great opportunity. That's something to think about. I'm gonna get my degree. I'm gonna work for this place for about 4 or 5 years, get the experience I need, build as much as I can, and then go knock those loans out the way, and then I can start making money. While you're still making decent money, you're still able to pay off whatever is required of the loans if need be. In some cases, I can't say for certain, you may be able to have reduced loans, or they may be able to work out a plan if you're on some sort of governmental student loan program. Maybe Festus can give us a little bit more information on that. I'm gonna say something real quick. If you're early on in your college path and your post-high school path, and you're trying to close the tuition gap without relying on federal loans, you may want to rethink the institution that you're in. You may want to, if you're really serious, and this is something that you know you want to do, you may want to think about going to a junior college and going to a community college. I'm just being honest, because it's that serious. Here's the thing y'all got to realize. We live in Houston, Texas. That means that you have professors right now who teach at the Harvard of the South, which is Rice University, who teach at University of Houston, which is help me out, fellas. What tier is that? Tier 1?
Tier 1.
Tier 1 research facility. They just opened up a medical school. You've got Texas Southern University. You've got the University of St. Thomas. You've got Prairie View not too far. You've got Houston City College. You've got Lone Star. You've got San Jack. You've got professors who may teach at 2 or 3 of those schools. And they're also teaching at your class that you're going to be taking at Houston City College. So the access to the information, the access to the knowledge is there. The question is this what you really want to do, right? And if you're trying to put yourself in a beneficial situation outside of getting your certification, outside of getting your licensure, outside of getting your degree, take a look at the institution that you're in, because for the most part, outside of certain programs or research projects that you're going to do at some of your better universities, the information is the same. So just be honest with that. Some of us just have to have a heart moment with Jesus, right? And so you just got to be honest with yourself. We've done enough. We've taken enough time with this. Thank y'all so much for listening. For Dr. Jamal Crawford, I'm Ole Sharonki. Thank you for listening to Steps for Success, powered by Laddering Your Success. Let's just go ahead and hit him with the phrase that pays.
So listen, y'all, there are legitimate excuses for not going to college. There's no legitimate excuse for not getting an education. Thank you for watching this powerful episode of Edgy Steps by Laddering Your Success. And we are going to see you on the next episode.